The most dangerous workplaces don't burn you out. They convince you that exhaustion is purpose, that sacrifice is identity, and that leaving means losing yourself. This is not a story about a bad company. It's a story about a good one that asked for too much, and the price was invisible until it wasn't. The startup didn't feel like work. That was the first thing everyone loved about it. No rigid hours, no hierarchy charts, no corporate language, just a shared belief that they were building something that mattered. The company was called Virion. Not a product name, a vision. "We're not disrupting an industry," the founder liked to say. "We're correcting a mistake history made." People laughed when he said it. Not because it was funny, because it felt true. Ilan Revik joined Virion early. Not the first wave, but early enough to feel chosen. He had turned down a safer job to be there. Took less pay, more risk. Everyone did. That was the point. They worked out of a converted warehouse. Long tables, whiteboards everywhere. Music playing low enough to feel optional. No one tracked hours. They tracked commitment. People stayed late because they wanted to. Answered messages at night because it felt natural. Canceled plans because the work felt urgent. No one told them to. That made it addictive. The founder, Aaron Vale, knew everyone's story. Why they joined. What they gave up. What they were afraid of losing. He never used it against them. He just remembered. At least that's how it felt. When deadlines slipped, no one was blamed. "We'll push together," Aaron said. "Pressure means we're close." And everyone believed him. Until the first quiet change. It happened after funding closed. Nothing dramatic, just expectations. Stand-ups got longer, updates more detailed, questions sharper. "Can you justify this approach? Why wasn't this anticipated? What does this say about our velocity?" Velocity became the word. Not progress, not quality. Velocity. Ilan noticed that people who pushed back gently, not aggressively, just cautiously, were listened to less over time. Not ignored, deferred. Their ideas parked for later. Later never came. The first person to leave was praised loudly. A long goodbye message, thank you notes, promises to stay in touch. But something was off. No one followed her lead. No one said, "Maybe I'll go too." It was as if leaving required permission, and permission hadn't been granted. Ilan brushed the thought aside. Startups were intense. That was normal. Then Aaron introduced something new, not a policy, a ritual. Every Friday, one person would do a reflection, not about work, about themselves, what they struggled with, what they feared, what they were learning. It was framed as trust, and the first few were beautiful. People cried. Others shared things they had never said out loud. The room applauded. Ilan felt something tighten in his chest. Not fear, recognition. Because once something is shared in a room like that, it doesn't belong to you anymore. A month later, Ilan noticed something unsettling. The reflections didn't stay in the room. They reappeared. In feedback, in one-on-ones, in decisions about fit. Always gently, always framed as care. "You mentioned you struggle with pressure. You said uncertainty is hard for you. You told us stability matters." Truths, offered once in vulnerability, now used as context. Ilan stopped sharing much during his reflection. He kept it light, safe. After that, his role stopped expanding. Not shrinking, just stalling. Meanwhile, people who shared everything seemed to move faster, get more trust, more responsibility, more visibility. That was when Ilan realized the shift. Virion wasn't measuring performance anymore. It was measuring how much of yourself you were willing to give up to stay. And the scariest part? No one forced you. You volunteered. Ilan didn't fall behind. That was the strange part. His metrics were solid, his code clean, his delivery consistent. But the conversations around him changed. Meetings that once felt collaborative became selective. Decisions were made in smaller groups. Information arrived late, already shaped. When Ilan asked why a feature had been deprioritized, Aaron smiled. It just didn't feel aligned, he said. Aligned with what? That question stayed unasked. The reflections continued every Friday. They evolved. What began as voluntary slowly became expected. Not mandatory. Nothing at Virion ever was, but noticeable when skipped. "Hey, you were quiet today," someone would say kindly. "All good?" Concern again. Always concern. Ilan noticed who thrived. Not the loudest, not the smartest. The most open. People who blurred boundaries, who answered late-night messages instantly, who spoke about Virion as if it were a relationship, not a job. "I don't really have a life outside this right now," one teammate said during a reflection, smiling. The room applauded. Aaron nodded, eyes warm. "That level of focus," he said, "is how change happens." Ilan felt the pressure tighten, not to work harder, to confess more. During a one-on-one, Aaron leaned back in his chair. "You're reliable," he said, "but I can't quite read you." Ilan laughed softly. "Is that a problem?" Aaron didn't answer immediately. "It can be," he said finally. "In a company like this, trust accelerates everything." Trust, Ilan realized, didn't mean honesty about work. It meant transparency of self. The next week, Ilan tried something different. During his reflection, he shared a controlled truth. Not a lie, just safe vulnerability. He talked about imposter syndrome, about fear of falling behind. The response was immediate. People nodded. Aaron thanked him publicly. Someone messaged him afterward. That was brave. For a moment, things improved. He was looped into more discussions, asked for input again. It worked, too well, because now those words followed him. "You mentioned self-doubt," Aaron said during a planning meeting. "Let's pair you with someone more confident on this." Confidence wasn't the issue. Ownership was. Ilan saw the pattern clearly now. Anything you offered in vulnerability became a lens through which your future was decided. And if you offered nothing, you stalled. The first real rupture came quietly. A senior engineer named Petra announced she was leaving. No drama, no conflict. Just a thoughtful message about new directions. The response was supportive, but different. Muted. No long thread. No farewell gathering. By Monday, Petra's name was gone from the board. Her work redistributed without mention. Ilan asked a teammate how she was doing. The teammate hesitated. "I think she just wasn't a fit anymore." Fit. The word did too much work. That evening, Ilan checked Slack. A new channel had appeared. Yacker Core invite only. He wasn't in it. No one said why. He knew. Because he had kept something for himself. Because he still believed work and identity could be separate. Virion didn't punish people who left. It erased them. And it rewarded those who stayed by asking for more than time. It asked for alignment. And alignment, Ilan understood now, meant slowly forgetting where you ended. And the company began. Ilan didn't announce his decision immediately. He wanted to leave the right way. That mattered to him. He had joined Virion believing in the mission. He didn't want to burn bridges or create friction. He told himself that if he handled it professionally, it would be respected. He started with preparation, documented his work, wrote clean handover notes, flagged risks early. Nothing dramatic, just responsibility. When he finally scheduled a meeting with Aaron, the founder smiled like he already knew. "You're thinking about next steps," Aaron said gently. Elon nodded. "I've learned a lot here. I think it might be time." Aaron leaned back. "For you?" he asked. "Or for us?" The question wasn't hostile. It was personal. "I want to grow," Elon said, "and I'm not sure this is the right environment anymore." Aaron didn't argue. He listened. "Too well. We've invested a lot in you," he said softly. "Not just money. Trust, access, belief." Elon felt the shift immediately. Leaving was being reframed as loss, not mutual, personal. "We just want to make sure you're not running from something," Aaron continued. "Transitions are emotional." Elon agreed to a short transition period. 2 weeks. Reasonable. The announcement was made the next day, carefully worded. "Elon has decided to explore new opportunities," Aaron wrote. "We're grateful for his contributions." The reactions were polite, supportive, but colder than expected. People stopped messaging him casually. Meetings were rescheduled without explanation. Information dried up. He was still there, but no longer inside. The reflections that Friday were awkward. When it was Elon's turn, he kept it brief. "I'm grateful for what I learned," he said. No one applauded. After that, something else changed. Questions about his work became sharper. Decisions he'd already made were revisited. His code reviewed publicly, line by line. Not to fix issues, to establish narrative. "This approach feels misaligned," someone said. "We're moving in a different direction." That direction always seemed to begin after Elon. Then came the request. Aaron asked Elon to record a short internal video. "Just a reflection," he said, "on your time here, what you're taking with you." Elon hesitated. "This will help others process the transition," Aaron added. "Process." Elon agreed. The video was calm, grateful, neutral. He spoke carefully. 2 days later, clips from it appeared in onboarding materials. Out of context, edited. His words reframed as lessons about commitment and letting go. Elon realized something with a slow chill. His exit wasn't being respected. It was being used. Then the references started behaving strangely. A recruiter he trusted called him back. "You didn't do anything wrong," she said. "But there's hesitation." "Hesitation about what?" Elon asked. "About loyalty," she said quietly. That word again. Loyalty. As if leaving were betrayal. Elon understood now. Virion didn't fear people quitting. It feared people quitting without apologizing, without framing it as personal failure, without acknowledging that staying longer would have been better. His final week arrived. No farewell, no goodbye lunch. Just a quiet removal from channels. His access revoked before his last day ended. As Elon packed his things, he noticed something worse than anger. Indifference. The kind that rewrites memory. By the time he walked out, it already felt like he had never been there. And that was the most unsettling realization of all. Virion didn't punish departures. It absorbed them, turned them into cautionary silence. And Elon knew, with a clarity that came too late. Leaving had been allowed, but only on the company's terms. Elon thought leaving would create distance. Instead, it created echoes. The first weeks after Virion felt disorienting, not because he missed the work, but because his sense of time was broken. He kept checking his phone at night, kept drafting messages no one expected anymore. Urgency had become muscle memory. He joined another company. Smaller, healthier, at least on paper. People logged off. Meetings ended on time. No one asked who you were outside of your role. It felt wrong, empty, as if something important was missing. Then the delays started again. Not everywhere, just enough to notice. A recruiter who went silent. A hiring process that stalled inexplicably. A final interview canceled due to shifting priorities. Ilan never received negative feedback. That was the point. One recruiter was honest enough to hint. "There's concern about culture fit," she said carefully. "You were very committed to your last company." Committed. The word followed him, as if devotion were a stain. Months later, Ilan ran into a former Virion teammate at a tech event. They hugged awkwardly. Small talk. Then the teammate lowered his voice. "You left too soon," he said. Ilan blinked. "Too soon for what?" The teammate shrugged. "Before it stabilized." Stabilized meant the same thing it always had. Before resistance faded. Before doubt softened. Before leaving felt unnecessary. Ilan realized then what Virion had really sold. Not innovation, not disruption, belonging with conditions. Stay and you're seen. Question and you're coached. Leave and you're reframed. He thought about the reflections, the applause, the tears, the way truth had been encouraged, then quietly repurposed. Vulnerability wasn't trust, it was inventory. Months later, Virion launched its product. Press coverage was glowing. Aaron appeared in interviews, talking about transparency, culture, and psychological safety. Ilan watched one interview silently. Aaron smiled into the camera and said, "We build environments where people can bring their whole selves to work." Ilan turned off the video, because he finally understood the price of that promise. When you bring your whole self somewhere, someone else gets to decide which parts you keep. Years passed. The reflex faded slowly. Ilan stopped apologizing for boundaries, stopped explaining his choices as failures, stopped softening truths to preserve harmony. But sometimes, in moments of tension, he felt it return. The urge to align, to smooth, to stay quiet for the sake of belonging. He learned to notice it, to name it, not as loyalty, as conditioning. One evening, Ilan received a message from a junior developer. They had worked together briefly at Virion. "I'm thinking about leaving," the message read. "But it feels wrong, like I'm betraying something." Ilan stared at the screen for a long time, then replied, "If it feels like betrayal, ask who taught you that." No response came, but Ilan knew the message mattered, because Virion didn't trap people with contracts. It trapped them with meaning, and meaning is harder to walk away from than fear. Ilan looked around his quiet apartment. No whiteboards, no slogans, no urgency humming in the walls. Just space. And for the first time since joining that warehouse years ago, he understood something clearly. The most dangerous workplaces don't burn you out. They convince you that exhaustion is purpose, that sacrifice is identity, that leaving means losing yourself, when in reality, leaving is often the first moment you get yourself back. Ilan sat with that thought, letting it settle without needing to share it, document it, or align it. And that, finally, felt like freedom.